Hello, good morning and welcome to another video and to a bit of a classic, as today is a full day of hybrid training as I am preparing for my first ever strongman competition, albeit a bit more of a Highland Games natural Scottish stone lifting sort of event on August the 6th, the Donald Dinnie Games, and that is going to be up in Aberdeenshire here in Scotland. So yes, I will be wearing a kilt. Alongside that, I'm also training to deadlift 500 pounds and run a mile in under 5 minutes total. So today's training is going to be heavy lower body at the gym in Edinburgh, followed by a track session this evening. Jamie, my brother, who's just through there working at the moment, is going to join us. Jonny is going to join us at about lunchtime at Lift to train lower body and then come to the track with us afterwards. And then Ed will be holding the camera from about midday onwards, so you've got less of this shaky vloggy effect going on. So lower body session and track work incoming, and you can see what my approach at the moment looks like. But before we head into Edinburgh and crack on with the rest of the day, I'm going to have 100 grams of oats and a scoop of whey protein. Might even chuck some berries and maple syrup on there because I'm feeling quite bougie this morning, but chocolate flavour is the choice today. I had banana last week and felt a bit weird doing so, but I enjoyed it, so leave me be.
So, collected the keys from an office in the city centre. Traffic was horrendous, and we are now just pulling up to the office location, potential office location. I don't want to speak too soon, but I also don't want to get too excited on camera about something that will be a whole video in and of itself. But we are just meeting somebody who's a specialist in flooring to see how much it'll cost to level and reinforce the floor, and then we will have a good understanding of the initial cost outlay of the project as a whole, which means we can make a decision on whether or not to commit to such a project. So we are pulling up just now, and the excitement is building. This will be the first time that Jamie's been inside, this will be the first time that Jonny's been inside, and this will be the first time that Ed has been inside. Okay, so a quote has been received and it is not nearly as bad as we expected it to be, slash it's a different solution to what we expected it to be, which is phenomenal news because it means that behind this door, right here, is most likely now Omnia Performance and the Modern Mind headquarters. We gonna do it?
I think we should be. I think we should.
Okay, so we've arrived at Lift after some really quite life-changing decisions have been made. Pen not yet to paper, so I hope everything stays intact and this doesn't fall apart and I look like a fool. Working out to heavy triple on block pulls and then backing off with my best friends, the Dinnie handles, which is going to destroy my lower back, destroy my hamstrings, and then we're gonna head to the track, so great.
How you doing, Jonny?
Good, mate, good. Overhead pressing for me today, a lot of pushing. This is my push day, and which is why I've got my hat backwards, so I don't knock it off with my excellent bar path. Feeling really back in the swing of it. It's good to get down into here, lift, and feel like you're part of something. I train on my own quite a lot, so when I get in with Fergus and do kind of feel like a little bit more kind of pumped and ready to go. So expect no PBs.
You'd hope it felt a lot easier than normal deadlifts because it's so much higher off the ground, but the lower back demand that comes with it is just horrendous. Okay, moving on to Dinnie Stones replicas. I'm going to work up to the full weight and maybe double or triple it depending how I'm feeling. Might just do it for a single, see how my hand hold up because I've done a lot of grip work last week and that top triple there was actually quite challenging on me. So let's see how I fend. .188 on the front, 144 on the back, which is exactly as the Dinnie Stones weigh in the wild. I feel pretty rough, I'm not gonna lie. So I don't know whether this is gonna move. If it does, the plan was a double or a triple, but I'd be happy with a single today, to be honest. At the end of the day, I'm confident I can lift these. This is just really, really drilling that position because it's not going to be the first event of the day in the Donald Dinnie Games. So being able to do it in compromised conditions is good because it means that I'm confident that even if I've done an event beforehand, I will step up to pull them knowing that I've got it in me. I've never ever failed grip on that hand before. Interesting. Okay, so that was new. In all of the time that I've been pulling the Dinnie stones, the Dinnie steens, as it were, last year and this year, I have never ever had to think about grip on my front hand. The past couple of weeks I've struggled a little bit with grip on this hand, but that was just actually my starting position, so I fixed it last week when I pulled that exact same weight for a single. Ta-da! So why that's happened today is a fantastic example of the variability and ebbs and flows that come with hybrid training. Because you're balancing fatigue at both ends of the spectrums, there's a multitude of factors to consider. So I could stand here and say, oh, I need to do my grip training, I need to do this, I need to do that, when in reality, it's probably just variables that have led to this moment that mean that it was not possible to happen today. So focus on sleep, focus on food, focus on hydration, stick to the programming over the next couple of weeks, and hope that that fixes everything ahead of game day. I have some time with some very special individuals on Friday who will be correcting any strongman niggles, challenges, positioning problems that I may have, which you will obviously see as you've hit subscribe already. Thank you very much. So any tips, tricks that might be able to help with that, I'll pick up later in the week. But for now, that's a bit disappointing because it took so long to load up all the weights and get to that point. But I'm putting it down to being one of those days. So I'm going to crack on with the rest of my assistance work and then we will touch base at the end before we head to the track.
Down here in the basement lift, I'm working, I think I've already said, haven't I? Working a push day, so I've just been doing some single arm bench. Please, it's getting up close to where it was before. I used to be able to bench single arm the 80s for reps, but today I didn't. What are you doing, Jamie?
Well, I've got a bit of a sore back at the moment, so I'm just doing like little bits and bobs trying to rehab that. About to do a bit of a pump session now, so yeah, make the most of that.
Okay, heading downstairs for my assistance work. I have some back squats, RP 8x6x4, some Romanian deadlifts with snatch grip, RP 8x8x3, dumbbell carries, which I'll go back upstairs for, and some Nordic curls. But if I'm being honest, I feel completely worn out after failing the Dinnie Stones top weight twice for whatever reason. I'm putting down to fatigue, and I had my first big weekend in London over the weekend since New Year's Eve. First time I've had more than 2 beers in one 24-hour period, and that could well have something to do with the outputs of today, perhaps. So, with all due respect, I'm going to get my head down, crack on with the rest of the session, not film it because I'm eating into a lot of the rest of the time that I have available to me this evening, and I feel pretty worn out. So I'm going to head into here and do my thing.
All right, it is 6:34 p.m. We got back about an hour and a half ago, a little bit of work done, but I'm still feeling a little bit worn thin after my high exertion top set triple and Dinnie Stone failure. So that's done. We're now going to head to the track and we'll run you through the session that ensues very soon. The most fun part about track sessions these days, the lengths we'll go to for your viewing pleasure.
Oh yeah.
I'll do a tail whip. Nice. I've not seen this in a while. I haven't seen you in the wild that often, have I? No, but you need to push yourself off. You need to get rolling. Go fast. Oh shit! Hey. What is it? Yeah.
In the programme today we're going to do 10 sets of 400 metre repeats, but what we'll do with Fergus today is, because this session is kind of presented as being a little bit neurologically hampered, shall we say.
Fucked is the phrase we're looking for.
Just trying to look after your audience here. We'll play it for 80 seconds as well within this wheelhouse, probably about an RPE 8 I would guess. So we'll do every sprint we can. If Fergus drops under 80 seconds, the whole session's done. So we're going to mark each sprint, time each sprint, and make sure that we're kind of keeping within that limit. Anything less than that we know his output's just shot, and we'll just cut it off. Simple as that.
Rest periods?
Rest periods, I think what we'll do today is stick the rest periods. We'll just stick with managing your rest by your heart rate, so we'll make sure you're fully recovered rather than sticking to any prescribed limiter, I think. Yeah. Rather than saying 60 seconds, 30 seconds, we'll just watch you.
I think it'll probably work out as about 90 to 120 seconds, give or take, as a ballpark.
But again, the same applies with the timing. It's if we can't get it under 80 seconds under, but also if we're finding that it's taking 2 minutes for your heart rate to come back to kind of a normal, 130, 140, we also know that's probably a good time to just cut it dead. So each one's a test.
So look, the message here is really that yes, I manage most of my lifestyle around being as optimal for my training as possible, because training is a huge part of my life. I present it to you online. I'm a human being. I have friends. I am under the age of 30, which means there are things that I like to do and there are events that I would like to go to. And I thought that, given the social occasion that ensued over the weekend, I thought I would buy in. And that's not something in any way I regret, but it is catching up with me today. There'll be lots of you watching that have busy social lives. You might work in a corporate environment, which means that you've got Thursday drinks. You might have things to factor in there. You might have kids, which means that your sleep is going to be challenged. But the way to approach training is not to be overly dogmatic with sticking to the numbers. It's about creatively and intelligently adapting to the fatigue and the environment that you're in and the situation that you're in, acknowledging when to scale it back, when to push it forwards. And today is now just about focusing on quality of execution rather than the letter of the law that was in the programming. That way I'm getting a stimulus within the relative context of my outputs available to me today, without just sending it for the sake of sending it and actually probably making myself worse tomorrow. So all of our plans with Omnia are designed with that in mind, especially when it comes to the one-to-one side of things. Lifestyle is important, training is very data heavy, but human beings are unfortunately not as black and white as the data on the screen in front of us.
Okay, so 4 reps down. Wind is brutal on that side. Really feel the headwind. You don't get much of a tailwind on this side of the track. Definitely feeling calves, Achilles from the spike work, still getting used to them. If you see my most recent mile test video, spoke about that a lot. I'm starting to feel a bit perkier, but definitely feeling fatigue. Definitely appreciating the scalability of today, and the mission is just to do what I can, work as hard as I can, and then not beat myself up for not being able to stick to the letter of the law because of circumstances that were ultimately entirely within my control. That's all my calves can hack in the spikes. 200 meters, 200 meter mark there. Just blew up. Felt really stretched, so I think to be safe, especially given circumstances of fatigue, 8 reps, all under 120 per 400, slowest was 117. I'll be happy with that. Happy with that, to be honest. So give me a second and we'll talk.
That's a good place to cut it for you, I think.
Yeah, it was. That was a good session overall. I actually felt better than I expected to. And I really want the key message of this video to not be misconstrued as reckless or ignorant to the fact that I'm obviously a bit tired going into this and kind of felt not all myself physically, but how auto-regulation is so important. That's why the RPE scale, that's why heart rate, that's why all these metrics are so important to
be tracked over time, because you can spot trends and patterns when it's time to put the foot down, take the foot off. And this whole hoorah, no days off bullshit is a complete waste of time and wrong way to go. And I firmly believe the reason Johnny's got me so far as an athlete, and why it's all shared with you, is because we have that approach.
I've done half the sprints that these lads have done today, because it's been so long since I've done any, that we knew as a group to say, right, let's sit this one out and play that. Because I could have been, I'll try, and I helped myself. You've been the same, 8 sprints in. You probably could have done another couple, but just knowing and feeling it.
That would have been reckless. That would have been reckless. Right.
Good work, mate.
What was that?
1:14.
Okay. I was expecting like a wild rogue 105. You look smooth there. You look very smooth. Well done. Well done. I think at this point, given the fact that when we started filming this video, I was maybe a little bit complacent in terms of how the day was going to go, how my cognitive ability was going to be, etc, etc. And here we are. So 2 training sessions done. Not exactly as they were planned. Work day complete. Bloody exciting day, work day wise. Huge things coming there, which you'll all see. But I want the prevailing message here to be that auto-regulation is key, and not to be hard on yourself for things that were completely justifiable to work into your lifestyle. Because yes, we all try and optimize our lifestyle and focus on self-development, all of the in vogue things that we'll speak about on this channel and elsewhere. But as I spoke about in the routine video I did a couple of weeks ago, the important thing is to have a routine, have parameters to hold yourself accountable to, but when it's time to let your hair down, take your foot off the gas, understand when it's justifiable to sort of let go of that routine for a couple of days. What matters most is getting yourself back into it and not punishing yourself for breaking away from it, because otherwise you just become a slave to your own dogmatic routine existence. And having been very focused on existing like that when I was younger, that caused me to suffer with depression. That led me to a suicide attempt, and now I'm very happy to have spent some time drinking beers over the weekend with my friends down in London for a couple of days. And whilst yes, I felt rough waking up for the days that followed, and you've seen today a suboptimal training session and a video and a debrief that has never really been put out on this channel, that is an insight into that quote-unquote balance that I like to sort of maintain, albeit within a sort of 6-month window, because the day-to-day routine is what matters most. I'll hold myself accountable to that. I'm back in the routine already, and whilst I'm still carrying a bit of fatigue, tomorrow is a new day. I'm excited for it. I've got the excitement and the social life out of my system at that level for a little bit, and I'm buzzing to get back into training as I'm watching my younger brother tear towards me now, moving quicker than I was. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye.
What was that?
109.
Good work, son.